You are now listening.
You are now listening
to the Black Male Educators Alliance podcast.
Lifting our voices.
Lifting our voices.
Welcome back. Lifting our voices, a BMEA podcast. As usual, it's Jerry, Chris, and Mike, ready to do it again. Gentlemen, how we doing? Chris, you can start us off. How we doing?
I'm doing good, man. It's been a lot going on the last couple weeks. Had a couple deaths close to me. That's been sad. A couple COVID outbreaks, but we're just getting through the year, man. Getting to the work. Blessed to be here, man. So, through the bad, still some good.
Yeah. Good balance, Mike. Last 2 weeks, how you been?
Man, I can't complain too much. Still working to try to keep these schools together and trying to balance work and life. But things are going well for me.
It's funny. I'm listening to our tones, right? And I just had to check myself. Like when we did the back to school episode, we were like, hey, "What up?"
Yeah, the school year will humble you for sure. It'll get you.
And I was like, "What up,
even college, yeah.
What up, Mike? Everybody good? Okay, cool."
Yeah.
No, but that's like the theme of today's episode, right? Is like really burnout and wellness at the same time, right? And trying to figure out how, to promote the wellness to avoid some of the burnout. And so even myself, the last 2 weeks, I was in a little bit of a rut. And I had to make some mental shifts in my brain to allow myself to sort of be freed of that. And so I'm glad we're getting into this discussion. But, I think to the naked eye, a lot of folks would just attach this to the pandemic. But the reality is, and you all know, like it's about this time every year where, people are like, oh, yeah, we're settled into the school year, but I'm tired. Right. And I think the pandemic just exacerbates that for us this year. Right.
Yeah, exactly. Because I just wanted to say because it's like we're into the flow of the school year. You're checking to see like, okay, how are we doing? You're looking at assessment scores or grades, feedback that you're getting. If you're a parent, I just had parent teacher conferences for my, two of my kids. So it's like you start to just balance it all, and then you also are, you're trying to track your progress. I think that's a part of it too. It's just layers that get added, but I think I'm ready for that second win. I'm gonna take this weekend to get like, all right, let's finish like 2021 strong. As we kind of go down that hill.
And so, Mike, and I don't know if you have anything you want to add to that, but if you're an educator watching us, or you will be watching us at some point, and you watch this, this is for you. Really, today is we're speaking straight to the educators because we feel it. Go ahead, Mike.
Yeah, no, I mean, the September, October, getting kids back acclimated, especially coming off this virtual year, I think it's just tough on multiple, just layered toughness. Everyone is like emotionally going through a lot of changes, and the weather's changing as always, and so kids are getting back acclimated. So it's a lot, but I think what's important for all educators and people in general is just like making sure you're conscious of balancing that, like taking your breaks, like doing something for yourself and things like that.
Look, man, I got excited to rake leaves. That's how I knew I needed a break. Like, let me go rake these leaves.
Yeah. Hey, we need to play that commercial you turn into your parents.
Oh, yeah. I know. Or whatever. So we got a packed show. Again, this is really hitting on wellness, how to take care of yourself during the school year, especially. And so that's the focus of today's show. But we want to jump right in. For those of you that are local to Detroit, we know that one of our local high schools had a little bit of a setback. I guess we'll call it that. East English Village High School. And Chris, I don't know if you want to elaborate before we go into the clip.
No, I think we just jump into it. I mean, from an outside perspective, you hear things on the news, you see things, but it was refreshing to see this video. And, we're fortunate enough to have the principal here to actually talk about it. But let's get into the clip, and then we'll bring up Mr. Marty Bulger.
Right.
Well, it has not been a good start to the school year at East English Village Prep on Detroit's east side. But today, the school's new principal did something to change that. As our Everett Cassimy shows us, the students got a very special greeting when they walked into school this morning.
You can kind of call it the start of a new school year here at East English Village Prep Academy after a fight that made headlines, led to several arrests, and even had their school shut down for a day. But today, under new leadership, these students are starting out this new week on a positive note with a round of applause. Smiling faces, positive reinforcement, and cheers greeted each student at Detroit's East English Village Prep Academy Monday morning. It was a pleasant surprise to start out this new school week.
They seem positive. It keeps them positive on a good note.
Yeah.
Start their morning off right.
It's a way to start fresh to the school after a fight that made headlines just days ago.
Welcome back, man. Let's do this.
New principal Marty Bulger came up with the idea, asking for help from friends within black fraternities, sororities, and other religious leaders.
They have to feel the relationship. There's a saying, if I don't know that you care, then I don't care what you know. And so they have to know that we care.
Detroit pastor Keenan Knox was one of many who cared enough to show up and vocalize his support.
It's really important for me to be here because I graduated from Finney High School 1989, and I've always had a heart here and a heart for our kids. So it's vastly important for me, as well as anybody else out there who ever had a heart for Finney or East English Village, to be a part of the solution.
This is the first step of many things to come.
For Principal Bulger, encouraging the students here to be their best isn't just lip service. He even brought his own son in to help cheer these students on to a brighter day. This is one of many steps to change the morale and encourage these students to get excited again about what they're all here for, their education.
This is the manifestation of sound vision, and it starts with making sure that students know that we care.
And this is just the beginning of a series of events here at East English Village Prep Academy. The principal on Wednesday is inviting people out from the community to come together to come up with ways to continue to encourage these students. In Detroit, Everett Cassamy, Local 4.
Awesome. So without further ado, let's bring on Principal Marty Bulger of East English Village Prep.
Yo, Marty, can you hear us?
I can't hear you.
Uh-oh. You say you can't hear us?
Can you hear me? I can't hear you.
We can hear you.
Excellent. Trying to work the sound. I had to come into my car. Let me see.
I'll give you a second.
Yeah, we give Mr. Bulger a second to get his audio together.
But while he's figuring that out, I think that, it's interesting because,
can you hear me?
We can
hear you. Can you hear us?
No.
So while he's figuring that out, what's interesting, a lot of times you see these viral videos of school fights, and a lot of times people they'd rather look at the fights than do something about it. And so what I appreciated out of that video was the way the community came out and really supported the school, because ultimately you're supporting the students, right? And I don't know how many kids go to East English Village, but I can imagine that a healthy majority of those kids got nothing to do with the last week's stuff, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And so it's important that those students feel like, the community is focused on them and their growth and their development. And so I'm glad that news clip, I didn't realize the news was there. But
yeah. Because here's the funny thing, how social media works. And I'm glad I feel like it worked for good, because the day of the event where the fights were taking place, it was all over the place. There was rumors going around, someone died, and you're hearing all kind of crazy stuff. Yeah. And a couple of days go by, and I see this clip, and someone said they were giving actually one of my boys from school, Marcus Hester. Shout out to Marcus if he happened to be listening. He's an educator in the city at Mumford. Yeah. So he had put a post up shouting out Marty. And ironically, I seen the clip, and then Curtis Dr. Lewis, for those, Curtis had told me that Marty was the principal there, and he was one of the BMEA fellows. So I kind of all connected. I sent him the clip, and he was like, "Oh man, that's dope. We talked about this." So it was really cool. And it's good to see, like, not only the community coming out, but also people pushing the positive, like the good news out beyond just that.
And I want to add to that because, I know, Chris, I live in East English Village, right? I live right around the corner. And so even in the little neighborhood app, there are people, our housing prices are going to go down because of what's going on over there at that school. And the amount of pushback that came from the community to that person who made that post, like to your point, Chris, like that was positive, right? We're not worried about our housing prices, we're worried about what's going on in that school and what we need to do to support those students. And so, again, I know we see a lot of viral videos of school fights, but what you don't always get to see is what happens after that. And so I was appreciative to NBC for Click on Detroit, whatever they go by, for following up. Go ahead, Mike.
And one thing I want people to understand too, who don't work in the school systems, is that like there has been fights across the board, and this is not because most of these fights are emotional, like outbursts from year being at home, social media. Like students have to be reacclimated and re-socialized to being around each other like that. And just this generation is already a little bit different from how they interact with each other socially because of social media. So I think just in terms of for educators and school administration and even parents, like understanding like how social media plays a role in student interactions, like just teenager interaction and child interactions, helps you understand why there is this, these outbreaks of just student conflict,
And last point, and we'll see if Marty can rejoin us. But a lot of times though, on the back end of stuff like that, right? It's just we're gonna go more police, more school police, more security, more all of those type of measures, and you don't always get to see the community step up and say we'll take it from here.
Yeah, nah, that's a very good point. It's because we have to take responsibility. I want to also give a shout out. I seen in the wake up, I seen New Era Detroit. They were out and were wanted to get involved with the school as well. So we saw them. We saw fraternities, saw the churches coming out, pastors. I think it's just a great model of what we need to do, and I hope that they can continue it and that we can replicate it in other places because students should feel safe. They should feel valued by the community. And I think it can go a long way. Like, you said a young lady who was like, speaking, I'm sure she felt, a lot better about her school situation because of that event. So I thought it was just a dope thing.
Yeah, great. And so I think Principal Bulger is still working on his tech, but we're going to keep the show rolling. If he's ready to go at any point, we'll bring him in just so he can kind of share his thoughts. But again, today's focus is really wellness and wellness as a school leader, wellness as an educator at large. And so that's what we're going to talk about. And so our first guest, he is a principal at a Detroit school, University Prep Science and Math Elementary School, and he goes by the name of Principal Walter Reese.
Yo, Mr. Reese. Can you hear us?
Yes. Good evening. Can you guys hear me?
Yes, sir.
All right.
Welcome to the show. Before we jump in, Walter, you want to just tell the audience a little bit about who you are, where you've been, where you come from, all of that good stuff, your bio.
Oh man, it's a long bio, man. I've been traveling around. So I'm
Give us a summary of it.
Born and raised in Fort Wayne, Indiana. Traveled from Fort Wayne to Tennessee State University for college, and found my way from Tennessee State to Ohio, and then Ohio here to Michigan. I've been here for 17 years now with my family, and loving it. Joined UPREP a couple years ago. Worked with Mike Payne at the high school, and this is my second year as the school director at University Prep Science and Math Elementary School, and I'm loving it. Love where I'm at. Love serving. Love giving back. Love being a part of the UPREP network.
So, a lot of people get into education and obviously some of them don't even really make it to an administration or principalship. Like, how would you describe just the things that people don't see on the principal side of dealing with schools?
Oh, describing that is it's a lot of work. A lot of work trying to maintain that balance. And some people call it balance. I say, something that our CEO says, just finding the right tension. It's not easy work. It is work though, and it's well worth it if you're in it for the right reason. So if you're in it to work and support, help the youth, and make sure that they have a better and brighter future, then it doesn't even become work. It's just a calling. It's just something that you enjoy doing. I talked to my wife about this the other day, and I literally just enjoy getting up and supporting, helping teachers to put things in front of our scholars that's going to help them not hit the ceiling, but experience success. And whatever that success is for them is going to be a little different. But I enjoy doing that, and I think that's the most important thing that an educator needs to know is that if you are going to do this work, it's a work from the heart. It's not a work from fattening your pockets.
Yeah, absolutely. So Walter, and I'm sure a lot of focus gets put on teachers in terms of taking care of themselves, and rightfully so. But oftentimes, folks kind of forget about the leadership level of a school, right, and what that means to take care of yourself, right. So, like, what do you think? What do you wish like teachers knew about what it means to be a principal or what it takes to be a principal?
That's a great question. Principals rarely get asked, how you doing? How's your day going? And it's for no reason other than you're the leader, and so everybody expects you to have this cool, calm, collective attitude and disposition. And sometimes inside you got a lot that you're trying to figure out. You're trying to work through. You're trying to get into a good space. In your office, you might be one way, and you might be letting down those walls, and you walk out. You got to keep that face on. And I think one of the things that I like teachers to know and to hear is that it's important to check on your principal, right? So if the principal is not in a good headspace, your principal is not going to be in a place to lead you in a direction that's going to help you as a teacher to be able to help the students in the classroom. And so checking on your principal, and understanding that the wellness of the school starts with the principal. So if I can't put my oxygen mask on first, and folks can't understand that I need to put that on before I can help you put yours on and help you make sure that you get your kids' masks on, then you don't really understand the importance of that leader really supporting the work that's happening in the school and setting a clear vision for what's going on in the school.
Absolutely. So go ahead, Mike.
No, I was just going to follow up. Reese, when we worked together, you were really big on like teacher appreciation, right? And so,
Absolutely.
We talked about how like October is really teacher burnout, and a lot of teachers end up leaving their positions. So, like, what are some advice you could give the principals in terms of like how to show appreciation to teachers? I know money is obviously ideal, but like, what are some little things that you can do as an administrator to support teacher appreciation?
That's a great question. And it's very, very important, especially during this time of year. Something that we have happening as initiatives at our school include what's called an attitude adjustment. So once a month, there's a group of staff in the building who get together. Could be like fourth and fifth grade. We just mix them up, and they create an attitude adjustment. This week's attitude adjustment happens to be at Atwater. So we have a
that type of attitude adjustment.
Right. It's fun attitude adjustment. So we're going to be at Atwater hanging out afterwards. Could be like some board games and different things. When we were in virtual, we did games online and just got together via Zoom and did some things. We're going to be doing some caffeine carts, just taking around treats and different things for the staff to enjoy, just some little perk ups. And I say perk ups, and one of the things that's happening next Friday is we have something called morning perk ups. So the admin team provided breakfast for the staff during the month of September. The month of October, it's another group of staff members that's providing breakfast just to celebrate and break bread together as a staff. So I think those things are very important, and principals, definitely leaders in schools, definitely need to be creative and look for ways to celebrate teachers. Even if you like, I have a candy jar in my office. Teachers know if my door is open, they just come on in there, grab some chocolate, go on their way. We don't have to stop. You don't have to converse with me. You can say hey, whatever. We can talk, but that office is open and that candy is open to them, anytime. And I think that's important. For leaders to have those treats and different things happening like regularly for staff, not with a motive behind it. Just do something kind and nice for them to let them know that you care. Because you're right, money would be great, but we don't have a tree to pull that money off of all the time.
So Walter, Chris, go ahead.
I just wanted to just jump in and say, like, okay, I love those ideas. Hopefully people taking notes. Right. What about if for a teacher who may not be very social, like they kind of they don't want to do the hangouts. They're like, I got a family, responsibilities, and just the work itself is stressing me out. Like, how do you, as a leader, like, how do you notice that and realize that? Because, we have to differentiate everything, but also, like, what's your tips for a teacher like that that's just overwhelmed with the work and, like, candy not really cutting it for me? You know what I mean? Or I don't really I don't have the time or the ability to hang out. What would you do in that case?
I'm jumping in their classrooms like at the end of the day or before school starts, just to have a conversation. I think establishing that relationship is important, right? So if I don't know, like, I think it's important that I know what car each teacher, each staff member in my building drives. That way, when I notice that certain cars are missing, I need to reach out to that staff member and find out what's on. I mean, I get the like absence notifications and things, but I think it's important to know who's in the lot and who's not in the lot. And then from there, it's just getting a heartbeat of each staff member, walking around throughout the day, especially in the morning, after school, see who's staying after school, and just having that opening that dialogue with them, just going in the rooms, just checking in on them. It doesn't have to be a long conversation, but I think leaders need to know the importance of checking in on your staff and see it, just like the teachers do for the kids when they come into the classroom first thing in the morning. I think it's important for leaders to do that. You might not be able to do it first thing in the morning all the time, but definitely throughout the day, making sure that and then those staff members who don't attend, reaching out to them, finding out, what kind of responsibilities they have, because some of them have grad classes, some of them have young kids, some of them have one vehicle and they got to get home so that their spouse can use the vehicle. So trying to find out what's going on and then make some adjustments or pivots to some of those events so that they can be involved as well where they can. But then for your introverts, those conversations, that dialogue, those conversations, the personal note card in their mailbox, anything that's going to brighten their day. Happy birthday messages as well. Anything that you can think of that would brighten their day, especially for those introverts who are still trying to figure out if they really want to be a part of some of those social activities and social events.
So, and I appreciate that, Reese. I mean, that's a thorough approach to making sure that you cover, everybody in your building the way it should be. But ultimately, right, like you said, you got to put your mask on first. And so as we close you out, I guess the last question is, like, if you had a day off, right, a mental health day, right, how are you spending it to charge your battery? What are you doing?
I'm actually doing it this weekend, man. I'm not opening the laptop. I'm going to see the Chiefs play in Nashville.
I was about to ask you.
I'm going to see Chiefs game.
Yeah.
Is definitely something. I love to go take a vacation in Acapulco and all. Anywhere with my wife is great. This weekend though, Chiefs game. Yeah. I'll see my alma mater, but also Chiefs game.
So I'll be in Baltimore this weekend, Reese. We can talk about that later. Walter, we appreciate you joining us. I think you dropped a lot of good knowledge on any leaders that are listening. I definitely learned a lot myself. I'm sure Chris and Mike did. We appreciate you being on the show, and we'll have to get you back sooner than later. Appreciate you.
Thank you. I appreciate you guys bringing me on. Have a blessed evening.
All right, thanks, Walter. I guess Mr. Reese, he gave us, if like you said, Chris, if you weren't taking notes, you should be. Rewatch this. He gave us some good little tidbits on how to be a great leader in a time like this. So It sounds like Principal Bulger is ready and all set to come on, and so we want to make sure we give him some time to talk about what's going on over at East English Village.
Yes, sir. Mr. Bulger, can you hear us?
Yes.
All
How
right,
are you,
man.
gentlemen?
Hold on, Siri talking.
Good.
We're doing good, man. Yeah, we hear you. We hear you.
Yeah, I can hear you. Thank you. I won't be long. Grace and peace, good brothers, and I'm wishing you success along this year, along this month, along
It's a
this week,
journey.
along this day. So,
Principal Bulger, real quick before I know you, just how are you doing?
I'm doing all right. I'm, I DJ on Thursdays, and so,
okay.
I wanted to make sure I got this in. I got other DJs here, but I'm the lead DJ, so
okay.
I just wanted, you got that stuff going on in your mind too. Everything pressing, so. But I'm good.
Is DJing something you do to take care of yourself? Is that a self-care method for you, DJing for people?
Most certainly this, and working out, writing and reading my Bible. That's what works for me.
Go ahead, Mike.
Spending time with my family.
So talk to us about the move to East English Village Prep. How did that come to be, and how did you come up with this idea to welcome the students in that first day?
Okay, so real quick, we I'm principal at 2 schools right now because my first school we got it going with the social emotional learning and trauma informed practices. So I received a call probably late September, asking me if I would go over to East English Village from central office. And I don't know if it was smart or dumb, but I took it. And I swear when I walked in there, I had never seen anything like it. Outside of graffiti and a whole host of other stuff, all you got to do is go to Lean On Me. And that's what you were looking at. I kid you not. So anyhow, I go, I get the call like a Wednesday night. I go over there on a Thursday to meet the staff. They tell me to meet them there like Thursday afternoon. Then they say, okay, you starting Friday. That's right. That's how it happened. So I didn't get a chance to even let my students know from the other school that I was going to be over here, the staff, none of that. So being principal at both, physically I have to be present at East English Village. And I'll be honest with you, it wasn't fright, but it was like, I'm a gun owner. I'm just being 100 with you. Kids were coming up there, man, who don't go there, popping trunks. And so I went to central office. Dr. Vidi, our superintendent, is phenomenal. He thinks in equity instead of equality, which is power. So I told him I needed a dean for every grade level. I needed an administrator for every grade level. I need a counselor for every grade level. And I need 3 more security to give me a total of 4. They had 1 security specialist. And so he gave me what I needed. And I got all of those people together and galvanized the planning sessions. And that's what you ended up seeing on Monday.
So I know you just got there, right, Mr. Bulger? But what's your vision ultimately for East English Village if you've been able to get that far? And then what does that look like on a day-to-day?
Oh yeah. You're gonna love this, gentlemen. We're creating a template. This template will be able to be used in any urban area school as long as you provide the resources to get the manpower there. We have a caring education environment, and caring education environment is an acronym. The C is for curriculum, the A is for assessment, the R is for relationships and reflection. The I is for instruction, the N is for needs, and the G is for graduation. And in that framework, we use the 3 A's: attendance, attitude, and achievement. So our goal is to reduce the chronic absenteeism rate for the school, which is currently 67.6%. That's 2/3 of the students are absent 18 days or more in the school year. So we're using resources and we're galvanizing support to impact attendance. Attitude, they had 30 fights before I got there, and some students were multiple fights. They literally allowed the parents to bully them into allowing students who had fights to return. But of course, Dr. Vitti, our marvelous superintendent, empowered me. So the code might say your first fight, you're out 3 days, second fight, you're out, whatever. Because I'm principal at the alternative school as well, you fight, I'm just putting you out until you can get your mind together. I'm putting you on the computer, and you need to get some social emotional learning support. You need to talk about trauma. You need to review your transcript. You need to look at your attendance record. And we need to provide opportunities for you to be able to come back into the mainstream. Gentlemen, we have to remember, the 9th graders, last time they were in school, were in 7th grade. The 10th graders, last time they were in school, they were in 8th grade. And you bring these young people who've been in those closed, soft, small environments into a big, giant high school that's got about maybe 500,000 square feet and think that you're going to tell them to sit down and they're going to do it. They don't even know you. So the key is to build relationships and reflection. And the last A is achievement. Y'all ready for this? Put your seatbelt on. A 30% graduation rate.
Mm.
Are you kidding me? You're a school with a 30% graduation rate? Not going to happen on my watch. And so we're using incentives. We're using a lot of social emotional learning. That Monday you saw was a restart because I was able to shut school down for 3 days. And the reset was to have a restart. So they brought them in. That was the first day. The second day, I set up my DJ equipment. I had all 4 grade levels in this beautiful gymnasium that we have. And I DJ'd. I had them playing musical chairs. You would not believe what I'm getting from parents. The parents are telling me, my daughter came home and said Monday was cool, but Tuesday was the best day she ever had in school in her life. Because we use LUV, love. That's listen, that's understand, and that's validate. Listen, understand, and validate. So I've got them all running through the hallways like, what is love? And they just rattle it off. What are the 3 A's? They're just rattling it off, man. I'm telling you, man, the staff is blown away. They can't believe it. But I've done this before when I was a principal in alternative school in Southfield, one of the biggest. We had over 500 students, and we had a 98% graduation rate. So you can't tell me it can't be done. Right, so that's all. We're impacting the culture. The staff had to have social work services, but they really wanted to try and bully me into a hybrid. But everybody on this call right here knows that if you do a hybrid, you're going to have a significant learning loss. It's just phenomenal. And so Monday was the welcome back. Tuesday was the pep rally, and then and I allowed the other deans and the counselors and the administrators to take their groups out. Oh, by the way, I created teams for each grade level. 1 dean, 1 counselor, 1 administrator. 1 dean, 1 counselor, 1 administrator. And they're like in heaven because they really have a team. And it's not about competition, but it's about deliberate being intentional. I'm gonna say this too, man. You guys I'll shut up if you want me to, but you gotta have it. You must have it. Right? It is innovation and transformation. Right? If you don't have it, then get out the way. Right? You have to be innovative and transformative. And so Wednesday, another news story is coming out right now from Fox 2 Detroit. We had collaborative community conversations, and I had over 150 people there, and I gave them the 3 A's, and I said, how can you help us achieve a significant reduction in chronic absenteeism? So attendance, attitude, and achievement. And I gave them chart paper. Gentlemen, I took them to school yesterday. You hear me? I took them to school. So yes, that's pretty much the walk. I'd love to get back on one day that when you have more time for me, and when I'm not feeling the slight nudge because I got to get in here and spend. But yeah, gentlemen, I think what you're doing, I think we can go nationwide, worldwide with this and impact, cultures and transform cultures just because it's got to be done. Just because. Thank you.
Yo, thank you. We want to say thank you. We'll have to get you back on. I mean, I'm excited about just hearing the progress. I grew up in East English Village, right there on Yorkshire. Man. Yeah, I'm right there in the neighborhood.
I'm on great.
You, bro. I need you.
Yeah,
man, I put my number in the chat. I swear I need you. I need all of you. I'm gonna drop my number in the chat, man.
We'll connect. But thanks for jumping on. And like I said, we'll check in, man. Keep up the great work. Like that's exciting for me as just a community member to hear, and I know you're impacting a lot of lives. So keep it up, and we'll look forward to hearing just the progress. Keep it up, man.
Appreciate you.
I appreciate y'all, man. I'm dropping it in the chat. I promise you, it's no problem. Please get at me.
Okay.
Who's that?
Thank you, Mr.
Marty.
Appreciate you. I'm on the cop. I'll be right with you.
Yeah, bye-bye. All right.
Yeah, you have the acronyms for sure, though. So I hope people are writing them down. You can tell he's been, developing framework to get, to transform schools. So that was really dope to hear.
And I know a couple of folks that are on the team over there, and he's got some good folks. And so I'm excited to see, week 3, month 4, how everything is still going. Because like you said, the kids need it. That 30% is not going to cut it. That's not a school, like he said, and the kids just deserve more. We know that it's not just them that are creating this over there. And so I'm excited to see the turnaround.
Yes, sir.
So with that being said, we're going to get right back to the program. We, again, are talking about wellness and how to take care of yourself. And so, Mike, I'm going to let you introduce our next guest. And we'll jump right into it.
All right. So our next guest is also another one of the fellows in the Principal Wellness for BMEA. He's also the principal or head of school at Detroit Achievement Academy. That's Mr. Mario Lemons.
What's going on, fellas?
Welcome to the show, Mr. Lemons.
Still got a good mic. Now he sound like he's right here next to me.
Sorry, I'm not too loud.
No, you good. You good. How you doing, man?
I'm good, man. It's a long day, but I'm glad to be amongst good energy and fellas that are interested in doing this work. So I'm grateful to be here, man.
So just like Principal Reese, just Mario, tell us a little bit about who you are, your journey, to this part of your career.
Gotcha. Okay, I won't talk very long, but I'm a native Detroiter, so born and raised, DPS, K-12, went to Michigan State, go green, to get a degree in education. Thank you, sir. And then I taught for a few years, got a master's degree, started doing behavior intervention, and supporting students with some socio-emotional skills and development, but also sort of coaching teachers on classroom management and student engagement. And then I got tapped to be the principal of Detroit Achievement Academy. The title is head of school, but essentially principal. And this is my 3rd year. So I actually haven't had a full year of being a principal as like a normal school year. But it is what it is. But yeah, so this work is super dear to my heart. Because the school I'm at is literally a block and a half from the high school I graduated from, which is less than about a mile and a half from the street that I grew up on. And then I just bought a house in Rosedale Park on Otter Drive, like Big Sean say. Which is like literally like no joke, 4 minutes from the school. So I'm like literally never late. So I'm about this life in, the community. And I feel really rooted in what I do because I'm doing the work that people did for me, literally in that same neighborhood. And so I'm super grateful and honored for this privilege to do the work. So I don't really take that lightly at all.
Real quick, Mara, you mentioned that this is your first idea. God willing, this is your first normal,
Oh my God. Yeah, right. It's not nothing normal about wearing a mask all day, but I hear what you're saying. Yeah.
Do you think? I just mean also that we'll finish it all the way through, right?
Right.
But do you think last year and that half a year from March or June made you a better leader?
Absolutely. No, me and my assistant principals, we literally joked that like we the kings and queens of pivot, right? Like every little thing we're like, oh, didn't expect it. Okay, here we go, And so like we're literally pivoting all day, every day. And it totally made us, great leaders. Very little surprises me. But I've also been able to create a culture that's a little more proactive. So I'm almost like anticipating various things depending on what the situation is so that, the outcome is a little better than what I would have if I were surprised, if you will. But we definitely came in, the leaders and I, fall 2019, just like, super excited and like having all these great ideas. And then life was like, psych, we doing this. Yo, you don't forget, we about to shut the whole school down because whoop, whoop, whoop. And so, we've been required to pivot in a way that really gets to the core of why we do the work that we do, right? And so like the things that we had to prioritize, as it relates to students' socio-emotional health and well-being, but also the well-being of the families and thinking about, hey, if they don't have the necessities that they need just to exist, surely they can't do well academically. And so what systems can we put in place and resources? And so like we literally overload our families with tons of resources in a community. Like I said, I'm all about the neighborhood and community. So like there's so many different community organizations that are just like naturally a part of our school community because we had to bring them in over the course of the last few years. But now that's like a part of our orientation. That's a part of the things that we talk about at the very beginning of the year because, we want to make sure that they know that those are available before the need starts to arise.
Yeah, that's really dope, man. And it's October, and you've been an administrator and principal through the pandemic, like Jerry said. Mm-hmm. How do you kind of support, this space where teachers get to the burnout and like trying to retain your teachers? Like, what do you do as a principal, head of school, to really support just teachers during this tough time?
So it's a bunch of different things. I think one of the things I'm really grateful for and fortunate to have is a group of staff that I've worked with my whole career. Many of us have worked at the schools previously or at this school, this is my 5th year there. So we created those relationships and level of trust that goes beyond just me being their boss, but certainly understand that I care about you as a person. And so, similar to the other brother was saying, like doing check-ins, having conversations regularly about how you're doing. When we have our check-ins, the first question is, how are you as a person? I don't care about, how the kids are doing, in this moment, but like, how are you as a person? Because if you're at your best, then you could be what's best for our kids, right? And so that's the first thing. Relationships with my staff is super important, but also we have a wellness fund within our school where there's a number of reimbursable funds that you can have access to for doing things that are related to your gym can get reimbursed. If you wanted to buy some skates or yoga classes, therapy, that's encouraged as well. And that can be reimbursed over time. And it's a part of our retention fund, but also it's a wellness as well. And so we're excited to have that. And that's really in addition to a couple other funds that we have for retention, really do help staff to stick around a little longer. And then our Sunshine Committee, which is headed by one of my best friends who I've been working with for years. She just is so creative in the ways that she engages with the staff. And so this month is our Staff Spirit Month. And so literally the staff is, dressed up in their Michigan versus Michigan State gear this week. We also had a hat day, like little stuff, it's like invest in your education. So wear a vest, like little stuff like that. But like it makes the vibe and the morale just that much more exciting, and people love to hang out, if available, but also they just enjoy coming to work because it's really exciting to be with the kids. And the kids are like, oh my God, teachers are always having fun. So they're seeing how excited we are to be here. And so then, of course, they behave a little differently because they see us do that as well. And then each week this month, too, is an instructional challenge, too. And so I think this week was make 10 phone calls that are positive to your students. And so at the end of the week, which tomorrow, I put their names in a raffle, and then I got a gift card to Starbucks or whatever. Last week was rearrange something in your classroom to make things flow a little better. And so that was, you had a week to do that. And I think next week is create a crew. We call our classroom crew, but a crew cheer. And so they are going to come up with some cheers with the kids to celebrate their learning. And then I'll put them in a raffle as well. So sorry. Those are just some things that we do. You do a few. But that's intentional, right? It's not like happenstance. You got to put the work in to build those relationships, just like you would if you were a classroom teacher. You got to have those things that get the kids excited, invested, know that you love them and know them well. But that same thing as an administrator, I have to do that work to maintain my staff.
Yeah. So Mario, what do you do personally to maintain your own mental health, and what's some tips you can just tell from your personal experience? How do you stay sane, and what's some things we could do?
I don't play about my sleep. I go to bed. I got all this energy, as you saw. Here it is, almost 8 o'clock, and I'm hyped in the mud still. But best believe when I get home, lights out. So I have a very clear sort of bedtime routine, and that really helps me wind down. Friday nights, my staff already know, as soon as I send staff notes, which is our announcements for the following week. If I send it at 5:01, they know my computer's closed until maybe Sunday night, when I'm kind of sending some pre-emails. But I try to make sure that I have my computer closed on Friday night. So Friday nights are my night just to, relax and chill. But then I'll also have therapy. And so that's something that we really advocate at my school. I experienced a lot of loss right before I became the principal. Hey, what's going on? I said, hey, what's up, Feldman? I didn't know. I didn't see nothing pop up before. This is kind of cool. Sorry. And, I had a lot of loss that in my family right before I became the principal, and everything was just back to back to back. And I was being Super Mario, if you will. And then life just kind of crashed, and I got therapy, and I literally told my whole staff, and the lady who was the CEO of the company, she staffed other therapists, Black therapists, and literally it was covered with our insurance. And so I was bragging, literally this lady saved my life. And literally I made it a cool culture. And so everybody on my staff gets therapy, because it helped me. And I understand that it helps, people who need it. And so, yeah, that keeps me sane as well, talking to somebody.
Awesome. Well, so look, I'm going to ask this question. You don't have to answer it, but what does that Friday night after you close your laptop look like?
We'll have to have a conversation privately, my brother, but whatever you need to do on a Friday night to, woosah and whatever, I support that. So if that's what you want to do, just have that one night to enjoy your evening, not think about work, do things that you enjoy. I certainly spend, I like supporting Black restaurants and businesses. One, because I prefer people who know how to cook better than I do. And so that's one of my big things, especially during the pandemic. It was like only Black restaurants, period. And so oftentimes for Friday night, it's me getting takeout, enjoying a new restaurant, chill at my crib, vibe out.
So this is a question you will answer, and then we will close you out.
Okay.
Over the pandemic, a Friday night, what was your favorite restaurant that you visited?
Yo, Jamaican pot, bro, bang. Like, it's on 8 Mile and Hubble between. Listen, I could go down a list. Listen, I'm a foodie, so I love eating.
I've heard of that place, but never had it. Jamaican pot.
And what's crazy, it was like a span for whatever reason, like it wasn't a part of my rotation, but like literally this last week, I got some more, and I was like, dang, I miss Jamaican pot. That thing slap.
Weekly rotation for me.
He is call it busting now, but yeah, that boy busting.
All right. Well, Mario, we appreciate you joining us. And you're 24 hours away from your next Friday night. And so finish this week strong tomorrow. We appreciate you being on.
Yeah, thanks for having me, fellas. Y'all take care.
All right, take care, man.
So this was a packed one today. It's 7:54. But there was a lot of tidbits. I think everybody offered a nugget or two or three that, if you were paying attention, you could take away and get better at your jobs. And so that's really the point of this whole podcast. And so shout out to Walter and to Mario and to Marty for joining us today and dropping those nuggets. This was great.
I feel like I need to go back and actually
rewatch
it. Certain points, I really do. I wish I had the scribe, throw a little blog post real quick. Maybe I can do that, But I definitely need to go back and just kind of, it was a few things captured that I want to make note of.
And so with the time we got left, Mike, you want to give us the rundown on what's going on with BMEA this month?
Yeah. So all three of those gentlemen are part of the Principal Wellness Fellowship. So shouts out to them and shouts out to Dr. Lewis running that. Still have the Early Career Teacher Fellowship and are going into our second session at the end of the month. We're open to membership, so anyone who's willing to join, register, get BMEA exclusive resources, become a part of the movement. You can go to the website bmeofmichigan.org/join, register, and you can register, become a member or affiliate. And we'll be back in 2 weeks, November 4th.
But before we go, it's spooky season.
Yep.
So this is gonna be real quick. Favorite horror movie, scary movie, whatever, Mike, Chris. I'm not even a horror movie guy, so I don't even know if I have an answer. But
exactly. I was just gonna say, man, listen, I don't really watch scary, but I just don't even, not that I'd be scared, because I don't.
I just don't understand why you would do it.
Exactly. But for the sake of answering the question, back in high school, I used to like the Saw series. I thought that was dope when I was first couple Saws. I don't think I really watched a scary movie since then, but Saw.
Okay.
I think I want to say I liked Insidious, but I'm not sure. I'm not sure. I'm more of a thriller type of guy. Not scared, because scary movies to me don't have good plots.
Right.
Texas Chainsaw Massacre probably was one of the scary movies that I would say I kind of enjoyed it. But yeah, I need a movie with a good plot. So sometimes it just doesn't make sense. Why are you not using your cell phone? Why are you running into the scary house? It hurts my soul sometimes. You gotta let it. So, but it's okay. Yeah.
I wish I had. I know I asked the question, but I don't have it. Literally, don't watch the movies. I don't see why people pay money to deal with that. I like peace and tranquility. So
he just wanted to, let's go right after really good luck from wasting our time.
So listen, I saw the original Scream, so I guess that's the one. I guess
those Jordan Peele movies are technically horror. So Get Out and
Get Out was good. I like Get Out.
Yeah, but that one, the Us definitely got to me. I think for a while. So
here's the thing. I'm glad we're talking about scary movies, but if we ever talked about movies, you all would realize I don't really even watch movies. So I haven't seen any of this stuff.
I'm the same, bro.
Sports and documentaries for me. Anyway, it has been a great hour again. Please rewatch this. There are some great nuggets dropped, especially if you're a leader, even if you're a teacher, just to kind of see where leaders are coming from. I think there's a lot of value in this episode. And so We'll be back in 2 weeks. Mike, Chris, take care of yourselves, and everybody else, especially our educators. Make sure you take some time to get back to you so you can be your best for the kids. This is Lifting Our Voices, a BMEA podcast.
You are now listening to the Black Male Educators Alliance podcast.
Lifting our voices.
Lifting our voices.